Completely new camera angle. It feels weird to be doing a video again because I feel like it's been 3 weeks. I know I adjusted my intro a couple times, but now what I've landed on is, hey, I'm Constantino. I just talk. I think that's the most fair way to put it. I don't want to do like all this explaining. I don't want to do all this positioning because I feel like the positioning can be achieved through living it rather than describing it explicitly. If I say this is a place where vulnerability matters more than polish, or I don't even remember what the fuck I said in like my 2 or 3 intro variants. But now I think the exact same explicit message that was in those intros can just be shown rather than told. I guess it reminds me of show, don't tell. Hey, I'm Tino. Welcome to my channel where I just talk. I can honestly say that, I don't know, I feel like I've been putting off the video making. I don't know exactly why. There have been bigger, meatier parts of me that I've been focusing on more, that I've been giving more attention to. Like, I feel like one part that I never got to in my therapy was a part of me with truly an immense amount of self-hatred, extreme self-hatred. If my therapeutic journey through internal family systems is a long hallway with doors on both sides, multiple doors, let's say 100 doors. Each of them, at the beginning of the hallway, little did I know that my journey was like walking down the hallway, and each time I got to a door, I would open it, and that door would be a part of me for me to explore, because there was a part in that room alone that needed my presence. And some of the doors were complete dead ends. I would open it and there would just be bricks behind, because there actually wasn't a part there. And that part was actually across the hall. And that part was making me think the problem was over here, but there was nothing. It was just a brick wall behind the door. And, now that I'm fleshing this metaphor out, I think it's fair to say that there were a lot of twists and turns in this hallway. Like I said earlier, dead ends. Maybe that's a better way to phrase it. Winding halls. Maybe it's a maze. I don't like maze, I like halls. We'll stick with the original metaphor of just one long hallway. And the deeper in the hallway you go, the more fundamental of a part, or the more fundamental of a role this part plays in your system, or in my system. Maybe we started off with something basic. Maybe one that was just Maybe the first door we opened was a part of me that just had a lot of hope. And I remember that was like the first part that me and my therapist got in contact with, a part of me that held a lot of hope. Because I was in a lot of pain at the time. And the deeper I went, I started realizing that these parts, like, I fucking hate the onion metaphor. Like, oh, peeling back layers of an onion. I guess I hate it because it's so cliche. And I don't know. I feel like the people who I've heard it from, I have just been like, I feel like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I feel like you heard someone say that and now you're saying it. So it just left a bad taste in my mouth. But truly, working with my parts just unveiled deeper and deeper parts of me that cut right to the center of my very experience of this world. And I just feel like I recently got to the end of the hallway, or at least one of the hallways. And the last door is just a door with a part of me that's been exiled for so long that just carries tremendous self-hatred, painful self-hatred. And there's such a thick protective coat of armor around that part. Maybe a protective part trying to achieve. Absolutely, certainly a self-critical protective part. And it's truly, it's been, it felt like the water just started to boil a lot. And for a few days, until finally the water stopped boiling just a little bit and I had a little bit of breathing room. I had a little bit more clarity. And I feel like I was able to finally connect the dots at this voice that's always been in the back of my head of simply saying, I hate myself. I fucking hate myself. And it's the same voice, it's the same part of me that was with me 5 years ago when I was 22. The same part of me when I was 15. The same part of me when I was 12. The same part of me when I was 9. Same part of me when I was 6. It's the same part of me. Which is beautiful in and of itself because it makes me feel like I have a shared history with this part that no one will ever understand. And because of that, I feel when I was able to step back and see this part for what it was, I felt like I had such a deep connection to it because I know exactly what that part has gone through. I know exactly how shitty of feelings that part holds. I know how miserable those feelings those are. I know how hard it's been for that part to just feel such extreme self-loathing, such extreme self-loathing. and the things you do to avoid it. It reminded me of, this is for anyone who likes Demon Slayer. This is a spoiler alert for those who have not read forward beyond the story of Akaza. I'm going to be talking a little bit about Kokushibo. You know, I always found the stories that make me cry, truly that make me cry and that touch my heart, are the stories with internal anguish, character development, because it's inside. I guess there's two camps. Like, what happened to Akaza, we all know. The world did him so wrong. His father was killed. If I remember correctly, his teacher was killed. His wife was killed. He lived a horrible life. And then he lost the will to live. Muzan turned him into a demon. And he forgot his memories. That's pretty tragic. I view that as suffering from the external. But suffering from the internal has always resonated with me more. Like Kokushibo, he had such profound self-hatred. It was his own fault. The whole tragedy of his life was his own fault, which is so tragic. He was just trapped in his own prison. And he lived for 480 years. Telling himself that he hated his brother when he actually deeply loved him. And only at the very end, after he died, after 500 years, 5 centuries, more like 4.5 centuries of eating humans, killing people, training to become stronger and stronger, convincing himself that he hated his brother. Only after all of that did he come to realize, you know what? He directed this at his brother. I didn't do all of those things to become stronger. I just wanted to be you. Talking to his brother. That is so poignant to me. It's so strong to me. Because it's him on his own journey, all alone. He comes to these realizations at the very end. He witnesses himself. He finally, the part of him that's been craving his attention, finally gets witnessed. That, to me, I find incredibly beautiful. And I think that's suffering from an internal perspective. And it's always those stories that make me feel so much. Like last week, I watched Good Will Hunting with my girlfriend and her mom because we were in Colombia. And that's one of the reasons why I've been MIA, was I had my piano recital that you guys know about. And it went phenomenally. I posted it on my channel. And then me and my girlfriend went to Colombia, where her family lives. And we got to spend some time with her family and enjoy her country. And one of the nights we all watched Good Will Hunting, which is a phenomenal movie. And they're all what are they called? Movie I forget the word, movie junkie or something like that. But the whole family loves movies, so I was surprised they had never seen the movie. And so we started watching it, and we got to the "It's not your fault" scene where Sean is talking to Will, and Will had been such a motherfucker to Sean in so many ways for the whole movie, making making Sean so upset on the first session by getting under his skin with his dead wife, embarrassing his friend Dr. Lambeau with the interviews, telling Dr. Lambeau off, basically telling Dr. Lambeau that he's not a genius and he'll never have what it takes, wasting the time in sessions with Sean. And through all of that, Sean still gave him his unconditional support and still regarded him and still gave him his unconditional regard. And that last scene, Will overhears Sean defending him unconditionally against Dr. Lambeau, where Dr. Lambeau was trying to use the kid for his intelligence and his talent, whereas Sean, after all of the mistreatment that Will gave him, was just defending Will for his right to just be. And I think that meant a lot to Will. Maybe that was the first time in Will's life where he saw someone who gave him this unconditional regard and truly unconditional support, despite all the tests that Will gave him to test his support, his unconditional support. And at the very end, you could see that Will was very vulnerable. And at the very end, he ends up breaking down, because a part of him so young just got exiled and held so much shame for just being. I don't know exactly what happened to Will when he was younger in the movie, but he was abused by his dad with either a wrench, a belt, or a stick, and Will would choose the wrench because he said fuck him. And Will had shame for just existing. And he finally breaks down to Sean after an hour and a half of just being such a motherfucker. He finally breaks down and bawls and bawls and bawls tears. And the first thing he says is, "Oh God, I'm so sorry." And what does that sorry mean? Is it sorry to Sean? I tend to believe it's not a sorry to Sean. I tend to believe it's a sorry. I believe it's the part of him that was exiled so long ago that felt like it truly just had to apologize for even existing. Oh God, I'm so sorry for everything that I've done to deserve all of this bad treatment. I'm sorry for even existing. I'm so sorry for my existence, is how I understand it. It was like my girlfriend's mom, my girlfriend's grandma, and my girlfriend and my girlfriend's sister, like 4 women and then me. And I'm pretty sure that I was so close to just bawling my eyes out, but I held it together. And like the grandma made us all ginger lemon tea, and I was just like, it was like so hot, and I was just sipping it in that scene because it was helping me keep the tears down. I was gonna cry so hard, and I don't know if the other people in the room were touched the way that I was, because stories like that of just internal anguish and suffering, and specifically the meeting and transformation and unburdening of exiled parts, is so beautiful. Maybe I find it more beautiful because it's something that I've lived through myself, where I've unburdened parts of me. And it's cathartic. It's beautiful. It's so sad. You grieve. You experience so many feelings. You wake up the next day, you literally feel 70 pounds lighter. You feel clean. You feel more clean than any shower could have ever gotten you. You feel light. You feel remarkable clarity. It's not that, it's not so straightforward to get to that state. It takes a lot of determination to really lead your system. One of my dreams is to become successful in my career and start an endowment or a fund or whatever to pay for internal family systems therapy for underprivileged people, because it's not a commodity yet. And with the right person willing to show up and wanting to show up, I think it's so beautiful. And so it was that scene in Good Will Hunting that actually triggered a lot of, like, I feel like I finally got the awareness of the last door in the hallway that I'm talking to you about. Seeing Will, even, I know it's a story, I know it's fake, but seeing Will coming home to his part that held so much shame made me feel so much compassion. It brought out so much self-energy that I felt like I was able to use some of that self-energy to bring awareness to my system and the self-hatred that I felt. The self-hatred that I have felt for as long as I can remember. True, genuine self-loathing. A voice in the back of my head. I hate myself. I hate myself so much. It's like it became just crystal clear. Now, I can't say that I've had much more meaningful work beyond that, although I do believe that awareness is like so important. And I'm extremely happy and content with that step forward that I made of the basic awareness of the existence of this part. But beyond that, I haven't worked with it at all. And this comes back full circle to what I was saying in the beginning. Maybe that's why I've put off making another video recently. I got home a few days ago. I could have made a video a few days ago, but I didn't. I could have made a video yesterday, but I didn't. I didn't want to. And I don't know exactly why I didn't, but maybe it has something to do with this part of me. So that's what's new with me. I'm home. As you can see, it's a different camera angle. I have a desk now. So I work at my desk. and I moved the camera. I used to record right there on my piano, but I just put my tripod right next to my desk, and I think this is perfect. I don't have to move it. I don't have to do anything about it, which I like. So I hope this isn't too warm. It is very warm. I'm at 4,700 Kelvin. Let's move it down. This is what I usually film at, 3,300. This is probably much better, isn't it? Yeah. Probably. Now I know. So I moved the camera. I really love this angle. I love sitting down and talking a lot. I could see in the camera, there's a histogram that shows the distribution of the quantity of light pixels, or the quantity of brightness in the pixels on the sensor. And I like Roger Deakins, who's a director, because he is well known for his use of, they call it low-key lighting, where there's a lot of darkness in his shots, like in Blade Runner 2049, or in certain scenes of 1917. There's a lot of darkness. And he uses light intentionally, very specifically, where he will, the blacks will just be crushed. That's a saying in photography, like the blacks could be crushed, which means they're absolute black, or the whites can be blown, which is it's absolute white. There's no data, there's no preservation of detail. If you take a picture of dark cobblestone at night, you'll be able to see, the cracks, the individual stones. But if it's too dark and you take the picture, then the data hitting the sensor is just, it registers as pure black, crushed black. And Roger Deakins crushes his blacks so much. And he has, not even, they use a scale 0 to 255, I think. 0 being crushed black, 255 being blown highs. And I don't even think he uses, the upper register. I think he uses the middle and like the dark, dark, dark lows. And so the histogram ends up looking like that. Whereas a normal picture is probably like that, like a normal curve. Roger Deakins does this. And I love it. I found him because I learned that was my favorite style of lighting. And the more research I did, the more I found out it was called low-key lighting, moody lighting. And months later, I was talking about it with like a research AI, and it said, check out Roger Deakins, because he does what you like. And sure enough, I looked at his works, and the movies that he produced are the ones where I always invariably said, fuck, this is beautiful cinematography. Like the first 15 minutes of 1917, I was just raving to my girlfriend. I'd say, oh my God, this is beautiful cinematography. I mean, beyond just the lighting, the composition too. I love the way he composes his subject. I love the way he composes everything. And so many of his films, I'm like, oh my God, I've seen this. And I distinctly remember being so drawn to the cinematography. And now I'm watching Blade Runner 2049, and it's gorgeous cinematography. And he does exactly what I like to do, just the still shots. Like the camera on a tripod, crushed blacks, so many, or you're close to crushed, and a couple of mid-tones, maybe a couple of high tones. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I guess that's it for tonight. I love my new desk. I truly love it. So it's time to get back to the grind after going to Columbia even though I worked a lot in Colombia. And that's it, guys. I meant to take a video, upload it, see how the new angle looks, but as soon as I pressed record, I knew that it's time to just keep going. Anyway, guys, have a beautiful night, and I will talk to you later.